Time is an anthropomorphic idea, anthropocentric idea. Time as we understand it is relevant and relative to what we consider important as human beings. The foundation of that importance is based on our biology, the world we evolved in and the things that it features, the rising of the sun, the tides, the needs of our biology to eat and sleep, and so on. This means that time, as human beings understand it, is very human-centric. We believe that time is of correct intervals, predictable, causal intervals, seconds, minutes, hours, the ways we divide time. Of course, there are many scientists, Einstein among them, who had spoke about time being an illusion, time being relative, time losing meaning in the context of the true foundations of reality. If time has meaning only as an embodied being, what does time mean to a being with a different kind of body? What does time mean to, say, a cat or a dog that only lives 10 years? What does time mean to a fruit fly that might only live for an hour? What does time mean to a giant sequoia that might live many hundreds of years? What does time mean to a star, a galaxy, a black hole? What you think of as time is just another context, another veil, another story, another chapter in that story that allows you, really it's the format of the story. It's not even a chapter. It's the formatting. It's the chapters themselves. It's the way it's laid out for you. And without your limited human body, time would cease to have any meaning. Who would you be? What would you be if there was no body? If you lose your body, you would lose all of the meaningful references to time we spoke about, all the ones you normally need to make every moment mean something. If you have no heart, how long is a heartbeat? When you're disembodied, your sense of time is that of being in the dream state. As you know, in a dream, moments can feel like days, and days can be as moments. Almost as in the Bible, a day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day. In the disembodied state, in a state of awareness in which there is no embodiment, a being that is disembodied, such as someone who has passed on, someone who's experienced their body's death. They are disembodied. Their idea of reality what do you think happens to it? When you die and you're separated forever from this biology, this anchor, this thing that gives you context for your reality, what do you think happens? The astral world is a place where time has no meaning. There is time, but it has no meaning because there's no reference. There is no material thing that it is in coterminous nature with, at least not if your awareness is significantly shifted. What little physicality there might be is non-local. It's everywhere and nowhere at the same time, spread thin. And yet it itself is intangible. To a being that lives without a body, or at least without a physical body such as ours, the concept of time would be very different. And so when the time for you as a embodied human ends, time loses meaning for you in the next life as well. You see, people often wonder, how is it possible if we're all reincarnated, if we are all the same being reincarnated over and over again? How come we have no memory of it? Assuming that our memories can survive our body, how long could you remember who you are before you forget? If time has no meaning after death, if time has no meaning to a disembodied being, how long will you remember what happened when you were embodied? Even assuming any of that goes over with you, which it does. How long would it take? Well, do you remember when you were 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old? Do you remember every day from when you were 7 years old? Do you remember every minute, every second? No. You've forgotten nearly everything, haven't you? Oh, maybe it's imprinted somewhere in the mush inside your skull, perhaps. It's certainly been experienced by the same source that you still are. But you as an embodied being don't remember. How could you? The embodied being is designed to focus on what is relevant to its survival. You don't need to remember how many candles were blue on your 3rd-year-old birthday cake. You don't need to remember how many ducks flew past your window when you were 14 on Thursday, the 26th of June. You don't have to remember those things. They're not important to your life. You have to remember where the food is. You have to remember where your bed is. You have to remember where your job is, where your girlfriend or parents are, or boyfriend or lover or whatever. You have to remember where the food can be found if you're living a more Aboriginal lifestyle. You don't need to remember those trivial things. But by the same token, you probably don't remember all the important things either. Do you remember which cabinet in your kitchen the ketchup was kept in when you were 6 years old? Do you remember what brand it was? Well, there are people who even forget important things. Things like traumatic events. Heck, I forget my car keys all the time. What I'm saying to you is that memory is meant to be forgotten, or at least disregarded. And over a long enough timeline, no memory lasts forever. Memory, as we understand it, is not even what we think of it to be. Memory is not a recording. It's not a DVD. It's not an MP3. It's not a video file. Memory is a cross-referencing system of ideas. Your brain stores these ideas not as one-for-one moments of history. It doesn't record like a video recorder. Instead, it transcribes. It takes notes. It creates mimetic correspondences. This is why memory is so fickle. I could potentially change your memory just by suggesting an event was different than you remember it. And if it was long enough in the past, and I sound sincere enough, I could get you to remember something that never happened. Studies have proven this. Your memory is not a recording. Your memory is a set of ideas. And these ideas are abstract. They're not literal. And our brain reconstructs the memory out of those ideas, using them as cues to bring up things that we imagine. Our memories are as imagined as the rest of us is. When our body is done, those imaginary things go away, but the imprints of ideas, the abstract imprints of those memories never die. And what happens when your body is gone and you remain with these abstractions, these dreamlike visions, these reconstructions? You no longer have a brain to do the processing required. And you're there in this disembodied state. There is no vision, there is only the memory of vision. There's no sight and sound, there is only the memory of sight and sound. There's no taste, no touch, only the memory of those things. Your body dies, you become disembodied, and a baby is born. And to the consciousness that inhabits that new baby, to the consciousness that now focuses its attention only on that child, this timeless consciousness that we all are, to that consciousness, 1,000,000 billion trillion years may have already passed, even though it was nearly instantaneous in our recollection of time. And you will forget all of those small details that mattered so much to your insignificant, small, little biological life. And when you reincarnate, what will remain? It's not the memories. No, not the memories. But the things the memories do to us. You see, you don't have to actively remember something for it to influence you forever. You've forgotten the day that you learned your ABCs, I guarantee it. Oh, sure, you might remember a few moments in class singing the song. But do you remember that first time? Do you remember with perfect clarity? Now, maybe a few of you do, but the vast majority probably don't. You have no idea when you learned the ABCs, and yet you can recite them perfectly now. You don't remember all the lessons you've experienced in life, and yet you can apply them anyway. This is more than just our subconscious. This is our true conscious. This is who we are, behind the story that we tell. If we peel away all the layers of delusion of Maya, and we recognize what we truly are, as the source, as the dragon, as the infinite divinity, expressing itself as a minuscule little insect, crawling around on a blob of dirt and water. Inside the eye of that infinite, true source consciousness is everything that can be experienced. And when you begin to ascend, you begin to tap into that core consciousness. You begin to tap into that memory. You remember things. Some would call this the Akashic record, perhaps. And your spirit guides will lead you in directions that will remind you of things you have forgotten, for they are you and you are them. They are external as much as they are internal, and they are certainly internal as much as they are external. The goal of theurgy, the goal of what I do, is to take what is known of those spirits so that I may commune with them and connect with what they represent, and then, through a process of magical invocation and work, instill in myself qualities that engender myself to be like them, to remind me that I am them. I am King Paimon. I am King Baal Hadad. I am Lucifer. I am Lilith. I am Belet. I am all of these things, and so are you. As we wander and stumble through our lives, we build up a set of memories which we think are so important. And they are. To us, to our story. And they're important to the source, because without that story, the source would be lost. Because it would be everything at once. Source consciousness cannot be everything at once. Not at the same time. Not in a way that would have meaning. Just as the eye cannot look into itself, the source cannot know itself, save through a mirror, through reflection, through a tiny pinhole, which you call the human experience, the cat experience, the blue whale experience, the star experience, the planet experience. Through these small, little, insignificant pinpricks of light, consciousness pours. Your consciousness, your sight, is the thing that goes out of your eye and returns, bringing with it itself. Time is just another illusion. It's an embodied illusion. And illusions aren't bad. There's nothing wrong with your illusion, with your experience of reality as a dream. There's nothing wrong with this. It is a thing that is done to you by others who would control you when they make you feel as if being human is bad, as if having an ego is wrong. The lesson is not to destroy the ego or the illusion, only to be aware of it, to be aware that it is an illusion. It's to have a lucid dream, a dream that is just lucid enough so that you can truly have a fantastic adventure. And even that, by itself, is not the end goal. Don't be disappointed if you don't achieve it in this lifetime. Don't be sad if you don't meet the expectations of yourself. Because you're going to do it again and again. And in between, you're going to not do it again and again. As I said to my friend Tara, who inspired this conversation, when she said that this is her last life, when she's done, she doesn't want to come back. I've heard that from a lot of people, by the way. You're not alone, Tara. I said, don't worry about it. An eternity of time could pass between your disembodiment and your reincarnation. And though that reincarnation might only be an instant after your death in our world, in that instant of our time, an eternity of time could have passed for you. Plenty of time to forget the specifics of why you don't want to be reborn, why you don't want to live here again, at least so soon. Plenty of time to forget. Plenty of time to forget being who you think you are and allow you to truly become someone new. Anyway, guys, this is D.H. Thorne. I hope you like my videos. I hope you like my creations. Hope you're enjoying my books. If you want to support me, you can like, share, and subscribe to this video. You can comment below. That's always awesome. Or, of course, you can go down the description. You can purchase my books from Amazon. They're both for sale. There is a Kindle and paperback versions of both. I highly recommend the paperback. I don't really make that much more money on the paperbacks, but I think they're better quality. They're more fun to read. I have a Teespring store where you can get things like this ritual mat here, or you can use it as an altar tapestry. And of course I have my Patreon. Anyway guys, until next time, mind the shadows.